Hello, Internet world. Matthew here, and I am fortunate enough to be in the presence of Albert Maldonado Jr. in his shop, The Sacred Stone, for a Native American shaman's perspective on mental health. Al, thanks so much for this interview.
Thank you for coming.
I really appreciate it. So let me just get right into some basic questions, and we'll just take the conversation from there. To start off, what tribe do you hail from?
My tribe is Taino from Puerto Rico,
Mm-hmm.
from my father's side.
Mm-hmm.
And I just recently, within a few years, acquired that information.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm the authentic, you know.
Well, that was never in doubt.
Yeah.
So now, okay, you are a shaman. How did you come to walk this path?
It began when I was a little kid back in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And I was cutting across some courtyards.
Mm-hmm.
And as I entered this tunnel underneath the courtyards, I came into this light. And when I looked at myself, I was in two places.
Mm.
And it was just like, and when I stepped back into the darkness of the tunnel, I came back out. I came back out in two places. And I tried that a number of times. And when I came out, I started walking, looking at my body, and it was put back together again. And not until just recently, I acquired that information, how the spirits take you apart and put you back together, and you're never the same. And I always felt that there was something more to life, but I was in a different place at that time in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to wait to years and years until the spirits came to talk to me again about life and about myself and the path that I was going to take.
So it's been a long journey.
It's been a long journey, yeah.
So when I met you a number of years ago at the Palmanock Powwow in Babylon, you had already been practicing as a shaman and as a mediator and as a healer.
Yeah.
You also do, what kind of healings do you do?
Well, people come for me for consultations, you know, for simple things, headaches. People bring their kids to me sometimes because in the spirit world, the spirits doesn't know any time. There's no time. Everything is just it's just emanating in the universe. So if a bunch of spirits come into you and download you information, it's how do you handle that information? So I know a few people who been downloaded with information and they were put in they were put in hospitals and evidently they were put on medications, and they're never the same people. But it's fortunate that for those people whose sons and daughters get into this kind of predicament, within a few minutes sitting with me, I explain everything to them, and I do some energy work with them, and then everything is calm and peaceful.
All right, so that actually leads me into part of the reason why I wanted to do this interview with you. Mental health from a Western perspective, anyone can Google it, anyone can look up on it, but to really talk to somebody who comes at it from your perspective is unique. So for the Native Americans, what was their view on mental health? How did they deal with mental disturbances?
Well, you know,
nowadays?
today is a different, today we're here, hundreds of years ago, it was a little different than today. You know, for the most part of it today, a lot of people put on medications, and then if they go to doctors, sometimes the doctors don't even know what's causing the person's predicament.
Right.
But in our tradition, is a disconnection from the earth, the universe. So, when you get that disconnection from the universe, your aura, your energy field diminishes down. Don't forget today there's this thing called a dark matter that they're coming out with, talking about. It's been in existence for a long time, but you know about that pressing against the bodies.
Right.
So if your energy is extending out from the universe, collecting energy from the sun, from the universe, coming into your chakras, coming into your all your vital organs, all the nutrients from the earth and the universe. And if that dark matter is pressed and your energy gets matted down, what's coming into you?
Right.
Nothing.
Right. You're not as well protected energetically.
No. So, of course, you're going to be on several medications, and and since the physical body knows physical pain and whatever traumatized, it keeps that, where the spiritual body wants to move on to greater things. So there's always a conflict going on between physical and spiritual.
A friction,
in
a matter of speaking.
So,
Wow. Okay. So, what's very interesting is I came at it for a Native American's perspective, and you're talking about chakras and energy. We're kind of what people usually associate with Eastern wisdom. But really, I'm getting the feel that it's really kind of ubiquitous throughout all of spiritual practices, throughout all of the earth, all cultures, and all time. Am I correct?
Well, all shamans work the same way. We just didn't wake up today and put something together to show you.
Right.
It's just the way it's put in practice.
So you feel it out. It's a lot.
Well, we don't feel it out. It's common knowledge between all the shamans in the world.
So
it's just there, put in place.
So you're kind of like a spiritual IT.
Yeah. Well, it's through the fine internet, the web. The spider web.
Yeah.
It's connected to. It's.
That's amazing. And I appreciate that you were able to say that for our viewers, to give something, an illustration that people can kind of hang their hat on.
It's common knowledge.
Right. In one world. A lot of people who are going to be watching this aren't going to necessarily have that experience, so I appreciate you being able to kind of shift gears like that. So in traditional tribal society, I take it the role of the shaman was slightly different than it might be today, or?
Oh yeah, today, in years ago, the shaman went into the forest to collect the plants and the medicine they needed to heal people, or whatever kind of healing the person need. Even sometimes they had to go into families and conflicts that were going on between different tribes, and so they were the ones to go to,
like an arbiter, basically.
Yeah.
That's
in
absolutely
today's society,
interesting.
there's a story that I had read a while back that a guy was struck by lightning or something, and he became this awareness. But after a while, they had to put him away because
too much too soon.
It was too much for him to handle, and if it was in a village in the forest, he would be praised as a shaman. But in our society, he was not.
So in the ancient days, these things were seen as gifts. They were nurtured. They were expressed healthfully. Nowadays, we mask it with medication. We lock people away because it disturbs the status quo, do you think?
The status quo, yeah.
Okay.
I teach a few classes, and I do minimum. Sometimes I do some stuff with people to show them, about shamanism, because, you're always being tested. And we don't have to be tested,
Right.
So I can come to the conclusion I am what I am, and
tested how? You mean by skeptics, or?
There's certain, well, it goes into shamanism and quantum physics and mathematics.
Yeah.
And in quantum physics, they stated there's 250,000 realities. So how do you tap into these realities? How you see and look into these dimensions, because our eyes are one-way cable. We only see
a sliver of the spectrum.
And I was just recently watching a program as our eyes only see a done viewpoint of what we're looking at.
Right.
So what is really happening outside our eyes, and how do you tap into that?
So it's opening the world to possibilities. So in terms of mental health and mental health disorders, in the traditional sense, in the traditional culture, people were able to work through their issues more than they were today. Do you feel like it was more accepted to sit down and say, okay, what's actually wrong? Let's dig deeper into this.
Well, it's the Native American population's been really diminished, and it's even today what's going on.
No.
And
You mean the Dakota Access Pipeline? Yeah.
And that kind of energy is a disruption in the universe.
Absolutely.
You know, not to say that it was the Indians. There's many cultures that been kind of messed up.
Yeah.
But just recently, I mean, it's just happening again. You know, modern civilization. You know, even today, we're here with the medical issues of, you know, we have to pay for medical.
Yeah.
And why should we pay for medical? This is the United States.
Right. Yeah, everybody's got a different perspective on it, and you know, that brings up another point. A lot of times, people don't have access to decent care. But have you found? Let me ask you, in more recent practice, going off script here, have you found that a lot of people are seeking out alternative answers to Western medicine at a greater rate?
There are a lot of people seeking out medical cures for themselves. But what happens to seeking out those medical cures, they're stopped. But thank God you took that off. They're stopped because the government don't want you to heal. Because if you get the remedy to heal your cancer, the chemotherapy charges, this charge and that charges are not going to the doctors. So the system is not getting that money. So everything, if I was to say here, you know, hold on to this crystal, and all your cancers are going to be gone.
Right. It'd be simple and straightforward.
But that won't be good in their eyes because, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
And you know what? There's a lot of people right now who share that view. So I really appreciate how you see things from a traditional perspective.
If you do your homework, you see that all the people that came up with remedies and they're not here no more.
A lot of times.
Why they're not here? That's why I'll talk to a certain amount of stuff, and I won't do certain stuff because the minute you become a threat, you're taken away.
I see. So there's certainly a large amount of distrust between Native peoples and I guess you would say the authorities. A lot of people can see that. And I think a lot of people are going to sympathize with that plight.
Yeah.
But I have to say for myself, I find it not just enlightening to hear your side of things, but also to know that there are people who are willing to go outside the normal view, outside the normal perspective, to reach out, to do things kind of askew, you know, to take a different path. But at the same time, how different can it be? Because it's existed for thousands of years. You look at even Chinese medicine; it's existed for thousands and thousands of years, and people acupuncture their form of herbal medicine. So I think this is going to be enlightening to a lot of people. A lot of people are going to appreciate this.
What acupuncture does actually is restart the mechanism for healing.
Yeah.
And a lot of people sometimes, when they go for acupuncture, they think that they're going to be healed. But if you don't go back home and meditate and take that time to be one with yourself, what's going to work? I mean, you can go out for acupuncture and then go eat a hamburger.
Right.
The same thing here. If a person comes to me for some healing work, and I talk to them, and I don't even do the healing. We're all healers.
Right.
You know, so
heard that many times.
Yeah. So and if you go out get something that's not a good food. So what did I do? You know,
right.
I
saw the same thing in my practice as a fitness instructor. I would get people, I'd have people worked out so hard that they literally needed help getting down the stairs back to the locker room. But I knew full well they were going out for a 16-ounce ribeye that night. And I knew everything that I had done. Yeah. So, you know, we talk about healing now, and you talk about how, you know, you personally, and you've seen a lot of distrust between Native peoples, you know, especially with what's going on in North Dakota. Yeah. What do you think, and we're going to wrap this up and we're going to look towards the future, what do you think would help bring healing, let's say between traditional views and modern views, Native peoples and our modern government? What do you think could be, is there a singular focal point or any kind of group of focal points? What do you think might help move us forward as a people, as a group of peoples?
Bring more peace and love into this world, you know, give back the natives their land. Why fight? Why cause that energy? That's when you take that energy, and if you say, okay, this is your land, we're going to do something else with that pipeline, So run it through the golf course.
So,
you know.
So more understanding, more dialogue, more talking.
Yeah.
Very similar to what you say the native peoples would do in dealing with mental health disturbances. Is more dialogue, more exploration.
This planet's here for a short time. We're here for a short time. Why, why fight?
Why make it complicated?
Why make it complicated? I mean, it's, you can't take the money you have with you.
Remember what's real. Remember what's important.
We're human beings. We're here for a short time in this world. And the thing we have to learn is how to be very compassionate people inside. It's not about money. It's not about wealth. It's not about having, as long as you have love in your heart and you have your family close to you, that's what it's about.
So we remember what's important. We we consider other people that we might not understand. We have dialogue with views that might be diametrically opposed to what we see. But Al, this is a great start. I think just having this conversation, putting it out there, letting people see how things used to be, how things could be, is a very sobering reminder. So this is Matthew signing off. I am more than a machine. He is more than a machine.
Thank you.
And you are more than a machine. Remember what's important, and together we'll move forward to a better future. Al, thank you so much for this. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right.